Good morning all. We're very pleased to welcome you. Thank you for giving up some of your valuable time for this year's User Group 2022. We're actually 4 years old as a company and this is our second year. It's a strange moment, we won't forget it. It's actually Arctic conditions outside the window, so if you hear any howling, it's nobody in distress, it's just the weather. We will, over the next 2.5 hours, have a number of special guests and a lot of fantastic content. I'll be kicking off with a general company update to give you a sense of what we've been doing this last year and what we're planning to do in the year ahead. We'll then be handing over to David from C&W O'Brien. I've already said to David he can give us a few tips on webinars because he's a dab hand, effectively an industry leader in BIM, and has been working with us and delivering Flow 10 within their Dublin-based practice over the past months around the subject of knowledge sharing and project management. So that'll be an excellent talk. Then we'll be handing over to Roger, who is fairly ambitious this year. We've got 2 client speakers, if you will, during that section, which are Wessex Archaeology and who else do we have? TFT. And TFT, of course, yeah. So TFT will be joining as well, and then we'll be handing over to Laura at Infrastructure Gateway. Quite an interesting case study there in terms of how they're sharing information with clients. So effectively opening up some of their project information to externals, as well as improving project delivery within the company. Product development, there's 2 product development presentations following on from Laura. There's a general Flow 10 one talking about where we've been focusing and investing our energy and what we're going to be doing this next period. And then also our chairman, Simon, previously of Union Square, which is now known as Deltec PIM, looking and talking about document issuing and how we might be able to help in that space going forwards. So thank you all again for attending, and a special thanks clearly to everybody who's contributing by way of talking. So in terms of company update, and produced this actually quite a while ago, so I have to remind myself, I haven't got any fancy notes what these images mean, but frankly the first one is all about the fact that the team is growing. So we're currently busy occupying some of our time with CVs and interviews. All the major areas within the business are being strengthened, so everything from customer success, engineering, development, sales. We're really on the hunt, and we're on the hunt for the greatest. So I'd say we're quite selective, which is all about, of course, quality. And also we just have such a positive attitude, I believe, and I hope you agree, to the way in which we approach our projects and our engagements with you. And we want to make sure that people fit within the team and that culture. So I'm sure that over the next couple of months we'll be joined by 3-4 more people, and you'll have the opportunity, of course, to meet them. The slide there, top right, or the image on top right, is actually about how we're really maturing in terms of reviewing the product and the way in which the product both operates around functionality, but also in the background around engineering and the integrations that exist with other products in the industry or other significant common tools that you're using, which I'll come on to in a little bit more detail. And again, we'll go into a lot more information on that when we get to the product sections. And the focus is still there. So I was asked yesterday, might we go into a different sector? Would be, since we're focusing on knowledge sharing and providing this interface and this ability to manage project information, would we be interested in perhaps working in different sectors? And frankly, no. There's so much to do, so much to deliver, I think, still around how we really now drive adoption of process knowledge management within both design practice and construction companies generally, that the focus needs to remain, and indeed will. And then the future really, and this is partly the exciting part of today, is to showcase some of the things we've been working on, largely behind the scenes. Some of you have been involved in some beta discussions around particular things, but actually there's some aspects that have been in research and development for over a year, and have had significant time and energy going into them, which we'll be effectively announcing today for the first time. And those announcements are then going to continue. So we're actually doing a number of talks beyond today, which we hope you can attend. And I'm certain this time we'll have an opportunity to do an actual face-to-face meetup, and so look out for that. I think it might be nice to get a drink or two when we have warmer weather, probably in the summer time. So other sort of I suppose announcements about what's happened. John Thorne joined us fairly recently. John actually is from within the built environment and joins us as a senior developer, and looking particularly at the moment around SharePoint integration, authentication, and other development projects. John was, I think, for 17 years previously with Midas Construction, who you may know previously, and were based largely in the southwest as a major contractor there. But sadly, they went into administration a couple of months ago now. So John was able to join us, which is fantastic, and brings both that capability in terms of technology, but also, of course, understanding of industry, which is so important to us. So the team is growing, and the number of hats that we have on our shelf, we need a bigger shelf, is growing. In terms of bigger shelf, that will happen because we're moving to an office that's approximately 5 times bigger than the space we're in. The good news is it's only across the road, so we don't have a lot to do to move there, but we're delighted that from June we'll be in a new space with a lot more facilities, and we welcome you there. In terms of welcoming new clients, we've actually now got 4 of the top 20 architects in terms of the AJ 100 with PLP and Alfred Hall, Montague Morris coming aboard this last year. So these names that you're seeing on the right hand side of the screen are all notable names over the last 11-12 months. So hopefully you'll be aware of some of those practices. I think this year we're joined by our first Southern Irish client in C&W O'Brien, and we also had our first 2 Scottish architectural practices join us in terms of Michael Laird Architects and Oberlanders. And I know that some of you are on the call today, so again, welcome. In terms of events for your diaries, we've got a talk on the 27th of April. That's a presentation, a discussion about knowledge sharing and collaboration, which is close to our hearts, and AHMM, Keith there, who's really focused on that subject matter, and they do a launch today of Flow 10, is going to be joining us alongside Open Asset, which I know some of you have as a tool, which largely focuses on image management, other digital assets that you might want to manage, which we have an integration with. So that's going to be a really useful talk, I think. And then actually for the first time for us, we're doing Digital Construction Week at the Excel Centre in London on the 18th and 19th of May. So we have a stand, and we have a couple of talking slots at the innovation stage. So again, it's all for us about getting the word out and engaging in the wider community. So we welcome you there. We hope to see you there. I'm sure we will. I know that some of you attend that event. And just in terms of product, then we'll go into a lot more detail here, but effectively we're looking at engineering. So that's about our cloud environment, which some of you are already on, some of you may want to discuss. We are looking at the way in which licenses are managed and the integrations we have with other systems. So those systems are largely, in terms of this year, work we've done with Newformer, with CMAP, with Rapport3, with Open Asset, with SharePoint, with Teams, and other products. And those focuses, of course, for us are how do we improve knowledge sharing and process management. And there's a great deal to discuss in both those environments, those sections, which we'll do, of course, in about an hour and a half time. And we're also looking at documents, because we're being challenged by some of you. How do we improve our document sharing? How can we link documents more effectively, more efficiently through Flow 10, whether that be going into a project information management system like Deltek or Newformer, or whether it be connecting to network shares, or indeed OneDrive SharePoint, where you've got that hybrid approach, or indeed maybe increasingly in that environment. So some great topic areas to discuss later about how we capture information, how we display it, and also for the first time announcing a new product which is part of the Flow 10 ecosystem, and one of our solutions is DocuPing. So DocuPing, which we'll cover in greater depth, is a new module that people could take on for document sharing, whether they be a Flow 10 user or not. But certainly there's some connection, of course, to Flow 10. So if you're running our project environment, you'll be able to launch from there into a document issuing process. And the key, which I think will become quite clear, and hence the name, is that it's simple. We were looking there at a solution which was going to be ultimate ease of use, but yet have those controls that people need around version control and drawing registers and issue sheets, and having a really new approach to that rather than something that can be quite overbearing for people. And indeed, certain projects have certain needs. So it may be that DocuPing is perfect for a certain type of project, and you'd use other tools for other types of work, or indeed different stages of a project. So we hope to talk to you more about that in one-to-one as we extend into that across the year.